Let us offer our consecration to the Lord. Lord, we offer up to you this day, and we ask that your name be glorified in all that we do. We ask that we may honor you. We ask that we may love you. We ask that we may serve you and be the light to others that you call us to be. And we ask this through Christ our Lord. Well, today is, of course, Tuesday of the 5th week of Lent, and so we, of course, are continuing, getting closer and closer to Holy Week and therefore to Easter. And we're looking at some powerful readings today as this time of the year. I mean, the readings are the readings. I mean, they're powerful no matter what day, but these are the real powerful readings. And we're seeing two important things that are here. First, the first reading, which deals with the issue of grumbling. Many people do not realize that grumbling is one of the worst sins in the Bible. The worst sin in the Bible is idolatry, but another one is grumbling. Now, if you don't know what grumbling is not... Grumbling is complaining, whining. Oh, why do we have to? Oh, why? Oh, why do we have to do this? Oh, I hate this. Oh, this is, why is this happening? Why? That's one of the worst sins in the Bible. I remember a story. I don't know if I should tell this story, but I guess I will. I went for a couple days. Someone said I was just really exhausted, needed to take a couple days, and they said you need to really get away from everything. And I had the opportunity to get a very inexpensive 3-day trip I had to pay for it myself, so it was an expensive 3-day trip. It wasn't any prize or anything, to Cancun. And I was on my way back. Now, the flight was delayed because there was a major blizzard going on in the Boston area, so there was a flight delayed. But eventually we got on the flight, and it was a charter flight. I don't even know if they're still in business, but it was a charter flight. So it was an interesting airline, and it was the whole bit. Well, person in front of me was a woman with long blonde hair. And all she kept saying, fortunately she wasn't sitting next to me, she was just in front of me. Oh, I hate this. Oh, why are we? Oh, I hate this airline. Oh, I hate this. Oh, wow, I just don't like it. Why are we always late? Why are we this? And it was just constant. Finally, I literally have no idea how this happened, but on the back of the seats in airplanes, they have this little thing that you lay your head against. It's like a little pad of cloth, and it's attached to the seat by Velcro. So there's two parts of Velcro. There's this felt part, and then there are these little hooks. Well, apparently the seat didn't have the pad that covered not only that part of the seat, which is the top of the seat, but also the Velcro. And she somehow leaned back. She might have gone up to go to the bathroom and then came back and leaned back, and her hair fell onto the Velcro, which was the hook part. So she was kind of stuck in her seat, and they had to go over and help her out. And it was one of those things. It was like, I think the whole plane felt like saying, well, now you have something to complain about. But she was just constant. And that's what God hates just as much as we hate it. Oh, why is it? Oh, gosh, oh, no, this is, oh, boy, oh, blah, blah, blah. God hates it too. It's one of the worst sins of the Bible. And so what happens is that the Hebrews are complaining. Oh, we could have done better if we were back in Egypt. At least we had food in Egypt. Oh, look, we're in the desert. Oh, wow. And God said, I'm done with this. And because it literally is one of the worst sins in the Bible. And it's something that's very common in all cultures, and it can be hard to get rid of. And basically the way to get rid of that is to be thankful to the Lord for all things. So what happens, this is the famous scene that Jesus talks about. God says, I've had enough. I've just had enough. I'm tired of this whining. So he sends serpents among the people. And of course, they're poisonous serpents. So they start biting the people, and the people now you have something to complain about. And then Moses raises this golden seraph, which is a serpent, on basically a cross, and anyone who looked at it would be freed of the poison, but also they also learned a lesson: knock off the complaining. So this is a scene that Jesus talks about later. Well, if you really think about it, one of the things that we're called to do as people of faith is we're called to be appreciative of what is there, and that we're called to be thankful of everything. We're called to be really thankful that the Lord is working in our lives, but we can especially, the more we are in a situation of being away from need, the more we can sit there and complain. Oh, wow, are we having this again? Oh, yeah, oh, gosh. Oh, look at the priest went on for 8 minutes. I wish he only go for 5. I haven't had that at the parish I'm in right now. Occasionally that has come in the past. I usually do give a homily for 8 minutes, but very rarely, thankfully, I haven't had that complaint. True story, there was a man who at a previous parish I was at, I never had to deal with him, but apparently the pastor before me, the man would sit there and complain if the pastor went on 7 minutes, more than 7 minutes, and he would hold up his watch and tell him to stop. When it came time for his funeral, his son gave a eulogy for 45 minutes, and after 20 minutes, his daughter told him to shut up, and he wouldn't. And this went on for 45 minutes. What an irony. We'll be right back right after this. You can now leave a message for us, which we can air and discuss on this program. Just call 617-297-7452. That's 617-297-7452. 617-297-7452. Feel free to call, leave a comment, a question, or even feedback, and we may play it on the air. I can discuss your comment or question as well, so give that a try. 617-297-7452, 617-297-7452. And don't forget our website, CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com, where you can connect to the parish, which is St. Anthony in Alston. You have a standing invitation to our 10 o'clock a.m. Mass on Sundays, so check that out, CatholicAudiomedia.com. Well, in our gospel today, we have a fascinating reading. And again, it's always interesting to see the little nuances in the reading. Yesterday, we talked about how Jesus wrote in the sand, and we have no idea. No one has any idea what he wrote. But the only thing God ever wrote that we have is the commandments. So it's very possible that Jesus may have been writing one of the commandments. Thou shalt not bear false witness against your neighbor. Possibly. I mean, that's literally just a wild guess at best. But you get a general idea. Well, now we go to this particular reading, and the people are accusing him, and they're attacking him of saying that they're rejecting him is what they're actually saying. And they're rejecting him for who he is. And he's saying, look, I'm going to tell you who I am. I listen to the Father. The Father testifies in my behalf. And of course, that upsets them because they know that he is calling himself God. But what he says to them is that he answers to the Father who is above, but you, he said, answer to what is below. And so when he says that, he says, you belong to what is below, he's accusing them of idolatry. What is the worst sin in the Old Testament? Idolatry. So he is accusing them of violating the very first sin. And he's accusing them of saying it in such a way that he's not just saying, well, you are practicing idolatry, you shouldn't do that. He is saying, your Father is below. Your Father, my Father is in heaven. Your Father is from below. So what he's really calling them is, he's calling them apostates. He's calling them pagans. He's calling them, would be the term Gentiles. He's calling them violators of the first commandment, which means he's calling them idolaters. And that simple sentence, he's really condemning them, kind of like what we saw yesterday, where Jesus condemned the people who wanted to stone the woman to death. Well, here, he is condemning them, again, not saying you are condemned, but saying this is who you are. And when he uses those words, he is saying those words in a way that they understand that he has just called them the worst of all sinners. It would be kind of like if you saw someone, it would be kind of like, I'm not saying it's like, but as you saw someone, if you looked at someone and say, well, this person is a communist, right? The person may or may not be a communist, but what you're actually saying is this person is an enemy of the United States and everything the United States stands for. But all you said was they were a communist, but people would look at them and call them a communist. That simple statement has so much weight to it. So he's doing the same thing. You are children of what is below. You are idolaters, you are apostates, you are pagans, you are not disciples of the Father, is what he's saying in that one simple word. And obviously, they are quite angry. We're going to talk more tomorrow. Have a blessed day. I want to call your attention to Catholic TV, which offers great faith-filled, family-friendly programming 24 hours a day. You can find your cable channel at www.getcatholictv.com, and you can watch online on the free apps or check out the YouTube channel. Daily Mass, Rosaries, the Divine Mercy Chaplet, and the Our Lady of Perpetual Help Novena are all available online and on demand. Check out CatholicTV.com. If you would like to support our program, please consider a donation to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts. There are several ways to consider this. One is to purchase any of our merchandise, which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. That's CatholicAudiomedia.com. There are coffee mugs there. There's also my latest book, Encounter Christ in Your Humanity, all of which you can find at the shopping tab at CatholicAudiomedia.com. You can also donate to the show directly through either the Donate tab, also at CatholicAudiomedia.com, or by sending a donation through the U.S. Postal Service with your questions and comments at 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. That's St. Anthony Parish, 43 Holton Street, Allston, Massachusetts, 02134. Finally, the best way you can support our parish is to attend Mass on Sundays at 10 o'clock and be a part of our parish. We thank you for any support you would like to give to St. Anthony Parish in Allston, Massachusetts, the sponsoring parish for this media outreach to Catholics and other Christians in the WROL, WEZE, and podcast listening audience. In Cristo vivimos.